Hey, you guys, it's me, Kianna, coming at you today. And I'm coming at you. I have a couple of things to do today, and I am going to be doing a cooking video today, so make sure you tune in for that. That will be probably in about the next hour. Um, and I also wanted to share this moment with you guys. I am about to call my dad. Yeah. Anybody that has been following me for long enough to know, I have not talked to my dad since the day after I got out actually the day that I got out of the hospital having Pootie. Mind you, Pootie is about to turn um, 3 on the 14th of March, which will be in next couple of days. Not couple of days, in the next like week and a half. But I wanted to, as I told you guys, I am, as you know, on a growth journey. And I think that I need to do all the things that's necessary on my end because I can only control me. I can only control what I do and my decisions. And I'm going to use that phone back.
I'll bring it back.
Okay. Um, since I only can control that, I need to do what I need to do on my end. Um, you already know the story. It's the story of so many. My dad and my mom separated when I was about 4. Um, my dad had a couple of relationships between I was the age of 4 and probably about 7. And since I was 7, he's been with the same woman. Even though she's been in my life over the years, um, it's still somewhat of a strain. It's not so much of a, she had, first of all, she already had 2 existing children, and then she had 2 by my father, which are boys. Now, my father had a boy before me. His name is Tink. And yeah, Tink. And then he had me. I'm actually the only girl, the only birth girl, that is. The woman that my dad married, he married her after being with her for about 10 years, but now that's his wife. And the woman that he married had 2 children, 2 girls. So he has 2 stepchildren that he basically has raised. And my father literally took this young lady out of the projects when she was 17 years old. She's younger than him, and he took her out of the projects when she was 17 with her 2 children. Yes, I said she was 17 with 2 children. And he took her to a very, very nice area from the projects to the suburbs. And as you all know, if you've been following me, that's where I get my entrepreneurship skills from, my father. My father has always owned his own companies. In fact, that side of my family has always owned something. Um, and they're really driven when it concerns business. And my father now owns 2 businesses, and one of them is a fleet of 18-wheelers. And a lot of people tell me, over the years, people be joking, your friends and stuff, like, girl, you need to talk to him because he got money and this and this. And this is the thing. That kind of stuff don't faze me. Why? Because I know, first of all, I've always been a go-getter as far as hustling and opening up businesses and stuff. So money don't really faze me like that. Money faze people that can't get it. Money faze people that don't know how to get it. Money faze people that don't have entrepreneurship skills and stuff. When you really possess a certain amount of entrepreneurship skills, you know that money will come. It'll come and go, and it'll come again. You understand what I'm saying? So money hasn't really moved me in that way. That I would actually overlook all types of things just to have a couple of dollars or a couple extra dollars. That's why I've never been the type that tried to seek a man with money or only would deal with a man with money. Why? Because first of all, that's not my personality. Second of all, it's not that hard to get. I can do that without him. So I never been one like that. So I'm saying that to all say that, I didn't let his money or his businesses or anything that he had um, dictate if I should talk to him or not. And I'm trying to sum up some things, you guys. A lot of you people know more details because you've watched my videos from way back. But I'm trying to sum it up for basically everybody that hasn't watched my videos and don't know much about the subject. So, my father was one of those type of men that if he was with the woman, he took really good care of the children. But if he wasn't with the woman, it was, I'll see you, be a weekend dad or whatever. And you guys know the story. I'm not going to get too much into it, but you guys know the story about how I said that I grew up in the area that his mom and his sisters lived in. And I would see him at times. Yes, he would come visit me, on the weekends, every other weekend, once a month, sometimes 3 months straight. I wouldn't see him. Then I would see him for, for 4 weeks straight on the weekend. So it was always on and off. But I would see him in this time period go to his mom's house, and he didn't see me because we had a high porch and I was, younger. So he didn't see me always, and I would see him, and I know it was him because I remember that blue Cavalier. And to this day, I still remember that blue Cavalier, two-door Cavalier. And I would see his blue Cavalier turn the corner to go up towards the Beltway, and he wouldn't stop. And this would be sometimes during the time period maybe I wouldn't see him for 2 or 3 months. Okay. In fact, I lived next door to his sister, and all of my life I've called her Aunt Louise. I mean, I've called her Miss Louise, but she was my aunt. And I called it that because when you're a child, if no one tells you, hey baby, I'm your aunt, if nobody tells you that over and over again to try to basically break you out of calling her Miss Louise, you're going to automatically just keep calling her that. Mind you, nobody ever broke me out of it. My mom never broke me out of it because she felt as though I didn't have to give her that respect. Because she never willingly, she meaning Miss Louise, she never willingly told me not to do that, not to call her that. So my mom looked at it as a respect issue, and she said call her, and she was like, if you want to call her Miss Louise, that's fine. And to this day, I call her Miss Louise. Now, in her face, out of respect, because I'm older now, and she would think that I'm being sarcastic if I was to call her that, I call her Aunt Louise, okay? But then again, I don't really call them meaning his sisters and that side of the family, I don't really call them by name. When I talk to them, I say hey, and I don't have to call them really by name. I stay away from using specific names, their actual name. We talk without me saying or acknowledging their name. And they may don't notice it. I'm pretty sure they don't. But I do it because I feel uncomfortable calling them anything else other than Miss Louise. But yeah, so this went on for years and years and years. As far as the strain with my stepmom, it's gotten better over the years. It's gotten better over the years, but I still have it etched in my head. Um, I still have it etched in my head. I still have it etched in my head. Um, I felt comfortable one day, and I called her Angie. Her name is Angie. Angela, actually. But I called her Angie, like everybody calls her. And this was when I was about 11. So mind you, she was with him for about 4 or 5 years at that point. I called her Angie, feeling comfortable, feeling, we had a nice day that day because I stayed the weekend or something. And I called her Angie, and she specifically turned around to me verbatim. I still remember. She said, Miss Angie. And to this day, I still call her Miss Angie. Now, when you guys hear me express these things, please understand I have joy in my life. Please understand I have true happiness, because I don't receive neither one of those things from the world. I don't receive neither one of those things from my circumstances or my past. I receive those things because of who I am and whose I am, and also because I place God first in my life. And in doing that, He has restored certain things in me. He has given me certain levels of peace and understanding. So when I express it to you guys, and when I open up to you guys about these things, please don't think that I'm not at peace. Please don't think that, it may come off as somewhat sad about the situation, because it's not that. It's not that I don't have peace. It's that I'm human. And these things evoke memories. Anybody would have memories like this if these things happen. It would just evoke, maybe it would sadden their heart that for that moment. Does it affect my life? No. Um, and I don't think so. What I will get into that in a minute. But does it give me true sadness even after I talk about the story? No. Um, what you see at times when I'm discussing it is me actually vividly remembering, putting myself right in that same situation. Because some of the things are so etched in my brain that literally I can remember how my heart felt, or how my spirit felt at that very moment that that situation went on. So when you see, or it comes off as that I'm sad about something, please know that it's not about me not being at peace or not having joy. No, it's just that I'm human. We feel, and if you don't feel, then that's a problem. That's a problem. Usually, if you don't feel, you're numbing yourself with something. And to go back to what I was saying about has it affected my life, I don't know. Some would say that maybe it's because of. Some would say, one second, you guys. Some would say maybe it's because of my weight. My weight loss is because of these things. I say that it's about several things. We all have used coping mechanisms over our lives. And I do believe that food has become a coping mechanism for me for several different reasons. But it wasn't just because of this. Okay. Um, and the thing is that as I'm growing, the reason why it's important for me to make steps on my end is, for one, I know I did all that I could do. For two, I know that I have lived up to the expectations that God has placed on my life. Um, as far as forgiveness, as far as honoring thy mother and father, and all of these things. Now, there I do believe that God allows us to release people, but it's certain steps, spiritual steps and physical steps that you have to go through in order to have it well in your soul and in your spirit to be able to release them. I've had to release a lot of people over the past 2 years. I release them in love, though, and I think that's the difference. I release them where it's not that I shun them, it's not that I don't want to be around them, or I don't like them, or I offend them, or I sadden their heart, or I talk about them, or I cuss them out. No, that's not releasing. When I release them from my life, but I wish them nothing but the best, and I pray for them. Okay? So if I need to release him, that is well with me. After all, I've went without him all this time, really. On and off, on and off. I consider that going without him. So if I need to release him, I want to know that I've done everything I could do in my power. Again, controlling what I can do. And if needed to release him, I would do so. But I want to make the last step on addressing certain things with him, putting it out there, getting a response, and then us working and building from there if at all possible. Now, if it's not received in the right way, if it's not received in a way that I think that it should be, or that my heart or whatever needs, then again, I have no problem releasing. Why? Because if you do have true joy, that doesn't disturb you long. That's why if you see me react to certain things, you guys, or you see me get sad about something, that's a human thing. We all do that. I mean, that's human. Um, but the thing is that this is how you can tell if somebody really has true joy. If they can get right back up and look as though they never even went through anything. God has that kind of ability where you can go through the fire and never get a scar. Praise God. You can go through a fire and never get a scar. You know you were burnt, but no one knows because He has the ability to wipe it clean and make you all brand new again. And I believe wholeheartedly that He has done that several times in my life. And I thank God for it every day. So I am going to make the steps that I need to do to set things straight with Him, to get things out there. I'm going to come in love. I'm not going to come defensively. I'm not going to, none of that. It's not necessary. And whatever God sees fit or whatever God places on His heart, it will be. But I know that I've done all that I can do. So, the stepmom, like I said, she's not mean. She especially since it's gotten better as I've gotten older. Probably because she know I notice things now. When you're a child, you know somebody can mistreat you and you really don't even know you're being mistreated, or somebody can be sarcastic with you and you don't even know that they're being sarcastic. You understand what I'm saying? So as I've gotten older, I think that she knows I know, and she knows that I pick up on everything, and it's never been an issue since I've been grown. In fact, every time if I'm in a hospital having a baby or anything like that, they do come. Um, but it's just that these things I remember, I recall, and she's never in my presence. I've never seen her keep him away from me. But I don't know what someone says to somebody behind closed doors. I do know that he paid his child support, which was very little, but my mother never went back for an increase. She was one of those type of people, you have to understand, whether it's right or wrong, you have to understand she was one of those type of people that was like, well, if you're not going to be there and you're not going to do nothing, then that's fine, just go away and don't come back asking for rights to have her or rights to see her whenever you want to. You know, you'll go around my time. If I'm going to be the parent only, then I'm going to be the parent only. I don't need anything from you. My mother was one of those strong type of women. And, you know, some people would say, go ahead and take that help, girl. But she was not that type. That she was like, well, okay, you're going to be a half-ass father. Okay, then I don't need you around. That's how she was. So she never went back for an increase. Even though his money would increase, she never went back for an increase. Because she didn't even want the money, really. Because it was that little. But he paid it. And I remember, when I got grown, you guys, I remember him saying, one time we was at some restaurant or something, and I was grown. Nene was a baby. And I remember him bragging, saying, I paid my child support up so much, they sent me a check when you turned 18. And I said to myself, you know, my mom was poverty stricken. My mom was an awesome mom. My mom went above and beyond. My mom never smoked, never drank, never partied. My mom, we was poverty stricken, but we didn't go without to a certain point. My mom was like Claire Hustable of the ghetto. Mom had a lot of class, a lot of grace. She was the type of woman that all of the men wanted her and knew they couldn't get her. My mom physically was built like a brick house. You hear me? But my mom never used her body to Come on, we laugh all the time and say, "Ma, with the body that you had, you could have been out the ghetto." That's what we laugh about. Cause my mother was built like Beyonce when this was back in the early '80s and stuff. Okay, built like a stacked brick house, but she never. My mother always put God first, and you know my mother's a minister now. My mom always put God first, and she just mm, she just was awesome. She just was awesome. She was one of those women that definitely didn't let her circumstances or surroundings define her. Um, so I've always looked up to that, and I've always kept that in my mind, and that's always been a perfect role model for me to be a lady at all times, and a woman of class and a woman of substance, and I believe that's where I got that from. Um, but I remember him saying that he got a check back, and I literally was like, I laughed it off, yeah, but I was thinking in my head, my mom was poverty stricken, and here I am with a baby. Yes, I'm grown, but I'm just, I'm getting into my 20s. You could have easily, being that you own businesses, could have gave that money back to me. Could have said, you know what, since I already had, put it in the system, I'll just go ahead and give it to her. No, he didn't. He bragged and said he got a check back. And I'm pretty sure he spent it on his family that he was raising. So things like that stick out to me. Things like that stick out to me. And those are the reasons and more why I don't chase him, why I don't hunt him down. My father still got the same phone number from when I was younger. That's why I'm going to call him. The same phone number. I know where he lives at, but I don't know the number of the address. I know the address, I know the zip code, all that, but I don't know the number. So, in order to invite him to Pootie's party, I have to make a phone call and call him to get the number. So, I think I'm going to do that on camera. I don't know for sure. After, I don't know if I'll be able to. I will have to stop the, the video in the middle of our conversation. If we get into something that, that I really don't want to share, I'll just go ahead and stop it. And that way y'all will be able to actually see me going through this process. Now, some would say, why are you sharing this? Before we get started, I'm sharing this because it's part of my journey. I'm sharing this because even though you may don't do it like this, I choose to do things like this for part of my journey on my channel. I also do it to encourage others to make steps, whether we've been hurt, whether we've been wronged, to make steps to do things and to do a certain amount of healing on your part, on what you can control for your benefit. Okay? So I think that we in our community, we have a lot of hurt when it concerns things like this. And I think that to see someone make an effort, whether the results are in my favor or not, but the fact that we see someone making an effort after being wronged, after being let down, after being denied, and to see the efforts and see that, you know what, even if it goes wrong, even if it's not received well, the sister went out on a limb and she followed through with faith. And even though it wasn't received well, the sister got right back up and kept it moving. Again, going through the furnace and not even getting burned, not even showing a scar. So this is why I choose to share certain things. This is why I choose to share with you guys this. And if it does work out, then what a wonderful encouragement it could be to somebody to reach out, to make an effort, to go through a process of growth. So it's a positive for a viewer regardless, because it shows determination, it shows a level of growth, It shows a level of honoring what you're supposed to do, God's rules. It shows how to release if needed. It shows how to go to if needed. Um, so these are the reasons why I'm sharing it. And you guys have been through a lot with me, and this is just yet another journey that we're going to go on. So this isn't new to people that's been watching me, because I've told you guys about what, 2 months ago that I was going to, not even, yeah, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, that I was going to do this. It's just that we haven't talked about it since, and now I am about to do it. So um, to be honest, I probably wouldn't called him if I did not need the number to the address. Why? Because I just would give him the invitation, and he would show up. Because I know that he's going to show up. Whenever I do reach out, he shows up. The problem is that I have is, why does it always take me to reach out? I know you're busy. I know you have a business and you got to run this and run that. Guess what? Kianna does too. So, and Kianna doing it with less years experience than you have. Because you pushing what? You pushing 50, 57, no, 59 years old. So, if Kianna can do it and have a lot less years experience juggling, then I know you can. That's one of my issues. So, alright, you guys. So, on to the next video, and then we're going to do some cooking. It's now before noon. I will talk to you guys in a few. Or, if I'm not able to talk to you guys will hear me talking. Whew. Alright, you guys. Take a deep breath. And let's do this. Be blessed.